Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. MagicMan, and this is episode 378. And, of course, we're doing the show live on twitch.tv/MMOBomb. Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Come on over. Hang out with us. Do the free-to-play cast. Then we go straight to a stream. Today, as promised, our free-to-play stream will be diving back into Forsaken World. Pretty excited about it, but I'm also, I know I'm going to be disappointed, right? It can't be what it once was, and so much has changed since I actually played the game. But we're going to create a vampire, of course, a kindred, sorry, and have a lot of fun there. But before that, we've got some stuff to cover, including news, some preview information, a Kickstarter. We almost never talk about Kickstarter projects on here, but we made a little bit of an exception for this one. Joining me to go over all of it, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
You are such an edgy edgelord with your vampires, with your love of Driss. Just, are you sure you're not 16 or something?
I'm gonna do the full goth makeup, just that was
There you go.
That was never me, but we'll do it for a stream. Why not?
Just do your Kefka makeup again.
Yeah, it's not like I haven't done Kefka or I was a Mog on one of those shows. I did.
Did you have the head?
I did.
Oh, wow.
I made a. I took a hairband, one of those U-shaped hairbands, and then put wire and a styrofoam ball that was painted, and full cosplay.
You're dedicated, man.
Yeah, I should do that, Old Glory. Name my character Edgy Jason. Yeah, we will definitely.
You do you, Mike.
Yeah.
You do you.
Also on the line from MMORPG, Ms. Robin Baird. What's up, Robin?
Hey.
Discord not liking your camera right now, but that's all right. Hopefully.
I know. I was about to say, what happened?
How you doing? It's been a while.
Yeah. Been feels like it's been a year, but it hasn't been.
Yeah, you were on end of January. It's about a month and a half.
Okay.
To have you on a little more often, but you had some previews and some articles of your own that you had to take care of over on MMORPG.com. Anything of note that you want to plug and let readers know is there you'd like them to check out?
Oh, geez. Literally all the things. So crazy. I know one of the bigger things was the BlizzCon Online, which made everything crazy for a little bit, catching up with that. But yeah, it's been a lot of things.
I mean, you had to keep up with all that Heroes of the Storm news.
Oh, one really big one. If you're a Persona 5 fan, they did Persona Strikers, and they did that, and that was amazing and wonderful.
Very nice. Check it all out over on MMORPG.com after you visit MMOBomb.com, of course. I mean, it is my show, Robin.
After the podcast. Come on.
I gotta do that first. On that note, let's get started with the news. So last week, we started with a segment on our favorite free-to-play games of all time. We had fun trying to guess each other's. This time, I didn't want to make this segment as long, but I thought, it didn't make sense if we did the best, our favorites of all time, if we didn't, Jason, come back and hit maybe our least favorites of all time.
Oh,
and we're not going to play the guessing game that we did last week in the interest of time. But it's so easy, right, to look at all the different free-to-play games out there and go, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. The ones that don't even make it out of beta or don't even make it out of alpha, or the ones that never make it anywhere. They're just conceptual ideas we see a trailer for, and then everything goes dark. I'm talking about games that you actually got to play. You put a little bit of time in. Maybe it didn't become your favorite game. Hell, maybe it was for a little while and then some big change screwed the game up for you. But I do think we should very quickly buzz through and talk a little bit about some of our least favorite free-to-play games of all time. Jason, what do you got on this front?
I've got a top 3 list.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Yeah. So first of all, I put on the list Total War Battles Kingdom, which was my first look video I ever did. And oh god, I hated that game. Even though it's Total War, you'd think it'd be something I love, but it was a mobile game with little building and time restricted crap, and I was like, I got through the first look, but I hated every second of it pretty much.
All right.
Second on the list, of course, infamous for my comment when we're doing the stream, was Valorant. I can't wait to uninstall this game.
Yeah.
Because it's just not for me. I get that it's good, but I did not like it really at all.
Yeah, that's a weird one because that one is very popular, is doing well, is evolving in a competitive front at a very quick pace, with AFK mode stuff being implemented and cheating, anti-cheat stuff being implemented and fixed and tweaked, but for you that was just a no-go, huh?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, there are games that I might keep around and like, maybe I'll get to this some other time or whatever. And that one's like, no, I'm never playing Valorant again if I can avoid it.
But you like Team Fortress
wow,
2. That's
Twitch
very
is
weird.
Really just dying.
Very weird.
Twitch is just dying on us.
Yeah, Chad is saying Twitch is having some problems too, lagging, low. We got excellent connection, 1080p. I mean, actually, I bumped it down to 720 because of last week's Twitch problems, hoping that would help on this end, but I can't do anything about that, friendos. I'm sorry.
And number one on my list for games that I actually liked playing, but it did one thing wrong. And you know what this is, Mike. You know what this has to be. I really liked playing it.
You liked playing it, but it did one thing wrong.
One thing wrong.
I don't know. I need a little more of a hint.
Winning putt.
Oh, yes. Yes, and I know exactly what they did wrong.
For making me grind out my St. Patrick's Day outfit, which actually, just 2 days ago. 2 days and like 5 years ago.
Oh, my.
Grind that thing out. But we're sorry. That goes away after the festival is done.
Yeah, and he didn't know that going into it. He just found out after when he was like, "Where's my outfit?"
Yeah.
I would be pissed about that too. That's
uninstall the game, never touch it again.
Never.
Oh, by the way, it went away. That game ceased operation, which is rightful because they screwed up.
No, it wasn't. Old Glory, it wasn't an inventory
actually.
thing. Well, I mean, I guess technically it's an inventory thing. They robbed you of your inventory, but but it wasn't an inventory management thing, which is normally Jason's pet peeve. So mine, I was like very easily, you could give it to V4, right? Right off the top of my head. If you go watch my first look, I kind of lost my mind about halfway through it and was just like, screw this. I'm just going to have some fun with the first look because the game is not fun. And it just played itself. But I thought that one would be too easy. So I went back in the memory banks and I started looking for a game that had, immediate appeal for me based on title or IP, and was kind of interested in what they would do with it. Like I had more expectations, not lofty expectations, but I expected more than obviously walking into V4. I didn't expect much out of that. And then did something wrong, didn't do it right, and basically killed itself and maybe the IP itself, although it was on a downswing to begin with anyway. In this age of remasters, who knows? Maybe we'll see a little something on that. And that is this game here. And I'm going to play the trailer a little bit. Of course, Area Games on the label. We're going to see the Warner Brothers logo too. And that's Fear Online. Fear Online. I loved the Fear games, particularly 1 and 2. 3, okay, whatever. But 1 and 2, particularly 1. And I thought Fear Online could work. Like it was going to be different because it was PvE and PvP being mixed. It was that instance-based stuff. But not only did this game just not appeal on the Fear franchise at all, there was very little scary going on in it, but it just had like one of the worst free-to-play models for these types of games I've ever seen, where you needed the tickets to do the instances, and you could only carry 3 tickets at a time, and they recharged 1 every 8 hours, or you could buy the tickets, right? So it was just awful. It was such a disappointing. See, the Fear games are great, all that. Yep. It was awful. It was awful, and probably killed the Fear franchise for a while. And again, admittedly, it had been on a downswing by the time this came out. But, God, this just failed to live up to the IP, was a horrible monetization model, and just like a cautionary tale for all kinds of free-to-play shooter games coming up. This is probably one of my biggest disappointments in free-to-play gaming. So it gets my title. Robin, what's yours?
So mine is one that I actually enjoyed playing the game. They just did so many things in it that made me like not like it and have to quit. And for me, that's Neverwinter. And
Ooh.
it's because like the game itself is really good, and I like the dungeon creator and all those things that they did. But they had like 400 different kinds of currency, which is like keeping track of that was a nightmare.
Yeah, every
And then the
module
other
has its own currency.
Right. It's like, why? Why do this? Even like when they launched the brand new game, they had like 4 or 5 different currencies. It was weird. And then they also did that thing where when people get the special whatever thing from thing they bought, it's a world announcement. I really, really hate that shit.
Mike loves that.
Yeah, we've talked about that quite often. Yeah, the thing that always
Oh.
I enjoyed Neverwinter. It was in my honorable mention last week for one of my favorite free-to-play games of all time, with the same gripes and caveats that you just put on there. So, there's no
Right.
rose-tinted glasses going on here for not finding its faults. The one thing speaking to the currency that I always found annoying too was if you get in now, there's so many modules there, right? So there's a lot of content to do. But the current content becomes a little more challenging because you haven't done the previous modules, and those buffs and things that are in the trees for each module, they add up. They can definitely add up. So yeah, it kind of forces you like, oh god, I gotta go do Tiamat. How old is this content?
Right. Yep. Yep. It's also one of those things that like every now and again I'm like, I should go back to it because I did enjoy it, but like I just think about all that other stuff now.
Yep.
Nah.
Yep. Well, there's ours. Of course, teaser, that's going to be the question of the week. We asked you for your best last week. You're going to tell us about your worst. And again, don't pick on the low-hanging fruit. Find the ones
So
that
easy.
they could have done something. You were excited about it. You played it for a while, and let us know about those ones. Now, onto the Kickstarter portion of things. And Jason, we've said a couple of times, we don't generally cover Kickstarter stuff because there's a huge chance that they just never see the light of day, let alone most times there's not a lot of info on payment model. There's all kinds of caveats to covering Kickstarter stuff. But you did cover one this week because, one, it funded very, very quickly, and two, it immediately called out free to play. So what's going on here? Why did we cover this?
Yeah, it's called Immortal Gates of Pyre. And it's by a team that has a pretty strong esports background. They've been involved in the scene for a while. By the looks of it, I don't think they were professionally involved. Like they didn't like work for a company, this or that or whatever. But they've got some interesting people attached with some names that recognize in the esports fields, casters, that sort of thing. So they're definitely attracting some attention. And it's an RTS game. It's similar to in the kind of in the StarCraft vein of, they say right there,
Which we don't see a lot of in the free to play world.
Right, other than StarCraft, but besides that,
right, which was well after the fact.
Yeah. The description says, lead your nation of choices, an immortal, a godlike commander capable of wielding the devastating energies of the God Star Pyre. Build your base, raise your army, and wage war against your foes in solo, cooperative modes. Secure victory for your empire, blah blah blah, through strategy, tactics, and fine unit control. So it sounds like if you play a StarCraft or something like that, you build your Space Marines or you build your tanks, whatever, and you send them off. But this sounds like it almost has like a MOBA aspect to it, in that you actually have you're immortal, your big character or whatever, who is kind of like I said, kind of like a MOBA. Like if you're playing a MOBA and you got your champion and there are minions that come out or whatever. It seems like it kind of melds both of those. Like you have both control over your guy with his special powers, but you also have the control over your units to do their thing as well. So kind of an interesting blend of those two.
And this was a genre that we brought up, a number of shows ago, talking about underrepresented genres in free-to-play, and our number one was real-time strategy games, whether they be in the mold of a StarCraft or something breaking the mold a little bit, but obviously a real-time strategy title. Now, this one funded very quickly. It still has 31 days to go. They were asking for a little over $31,000. They've already picked up over 86,000. So, yeah, the math checks out. That's funded. That's funded a few times over. So expect some stretch goals and some things like that. Robin, have you been watching this, taking a peek at it? I don't know if you're a real-time strategy gal or not.
Oh, I love RTS games, and anytime we get more of them, I'm always excited about it. I hadn't heard about this one though, so that's interesting. One of the things I really find interesting was Jason mentioned the controlling your guy and the other one. That sounds like maybe it's pulling a little bit of some ideas that they used in Kingdom Under Fire 2. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops.
And
Sure.
obviously we're covering it here. Confirmed free to play. It's like right off the bat in their explanation of what it is. Immortal Gates of Pyre is a free-to-play strategy game for PC. Large armies clash around 3 worlds for control of ancient relics and powerful magics. Lead your nation of choice as an immortal, a godlike commander capable of wielding the devastating energies of the God Star Pyre. And then goes on to building bases and, exactly what you would do in an RTS. With the caveat, Jason, of, you're kind of controlling a MOBA hero champion at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Visually, I think it looks great, right? And this is early conceptual, pre-alpha type footage, internal alpha even. So, and they clearly label that, but hell, we've seen some alphas that are far, far, far less than what we see out of the videos they've put up on the Kickstarter. And if you go to their YouTube page, actually, I was surprised by this. I checked out the Kickstarter when Jason posted it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I would definitely play this. We'll get to a question I have about it in a second. But if you go to their YouTube page, they've been putting videos up for basically a year now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Basically a year now. Totally under the radar. I had not heard of it until the Kickstarter. Didn't get a press release, hey, we know you cover free-to-play games. Would you cover this? We tend to get those a lot from games that we just might have missed. But yeah, they've been putting up, there's all kinds of videos. Immortal Show and Tells. You can get info on some of the champions, and check it out, their YouTube page. So this doesn't seem to be, Jason, a fly-by-night Kickstarter that is going to disappear. This seems more like we've done a lot of work. We need a little more money to finish this off type situation.
Speaking of champions, they have, I think, 5 factions and 3 champions they planned for each, which some are still in development, so they're not totally finished, but they've got quite a bit planned out there, so you'll be able to find your play style and you like, probably.
I actually can't wait to get my hands on this, but here's my big question, and I'm sure it's probably yours too. What's the best way to monetize a real-time strategy game that you make?
But the fact that it's kind of mobile-like means that you can also just take the League of Legends playbook, make skins and stat pages or whatever like that. So maybe, or you can fancy up your units a little bit too. Yeah, same thing like that. So it's maybe not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, you definitely it becomes one of those. There's a clear line, Robin, because if there's anything stat influencing at all in the cash shop, then a real-time strategy game that just does not work. You're not going to pick up the player base. But I do think, to Jason's point, that if you have 3 factions, 5 champions per faction to start with, and maybe you have 2 available in all 3 factions, so you have a little variety, and then rotate a 3rd one in every week, or buy a bundle and get all of them. Cosmetic, you want the MMO bomb cape, right? $5 here. Now your champ wear the MMO bomb cape. I think all of that stuff is open to them. I think from everything I'm reading, they're intelligent enough about this that they're not going to screw it up. They may, but I don't get the impression that they're going to.
Actually, if you notice, I only notice this now in their FAQ, if this is free to play, how are you making money after release? And hey, they have answers.
Yep.
Oh.
No bottomless or paid loot boxes or gambling mechanics. Not purchases, no pay to win. Players will be able to purchase additional immortals for infinite access. It doesn't lock our factions behind a paywall. However, immortals will be on free rotation, so you'll always be able to play at least one immortal from any existing faction. Players will also be able to purchase skins for their units and immortals, access to our Saga system, a bundle allowing access to new equipment through usually a PvE-focused narrative, and permanent access to co-op maps. Even when they go out of rotation, you'll be able to go back and play them again with your friends.
See? I'm going down the
Okay.
line, and Jason just jumps
There you go,
into
yeah,
the garden
that's a thing
path.
right there.
Like, I'm taking
Yeah.
the questions there so that I could then say, and they've answered some of these. But Jason's like,
Well, I thought you didn't. I legitimately didn't know.
Oh,
I didn't see
okay.
this page yet, so
Okay.
I didn't. You just kind of hit it towards me. I was like, I guess I'll set that. I'll go hit that over the net. Why not? You know. So,
they've got my attention. Robin, do they have yours?
Absolutely. I can't wait to see where this goes. One thing that I was surprised that wasn't in that FAQ is something that chat brought up was pass, because it's like everybody does it. That could work for an RTS.
You
See how that
broke
could
up there.
work.
Did you say season pass?
Yes,
Oh,
season pass.
gotcha.
Yeah, like everybody's doing season passes. So
it sounds like it might be their system, their Saga system, a PvE focused narrative. So maybe that's how that
even
works.
DJ Max has a season pass now. So
even what?
DJ Max, the rhythm game that
oh,
I
okay,
stream
DJ.
on Ready Check
Okay.
sometimes.
I thought you said TJ Maxx, like what, the clothing store?
Yeah,
Well,
DJ Maxx has a
technically-
season pass. It's the credit card rewards program. We've had them for years. They just didn't call them season passes.
Right, and things go in and out of style, so works.
You go to TJ Maxx, buy some cosmetics, get a new shirt, Jason.
There you go.
Couple points on your season pass. There you go.
Oh my god.
Oh man, no DJ DJ Max.
Okay.
All right. In some other news this week, Phantasy Star Online 2 had some news on both the Phantasy Star Online 2 and the Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis fronts. On the Phantasy Star Online 2 front, not a ton of news, right? It's more new urgent quest for high-level stuff. You know, you got to be level 85 on both your main and your sub jobs and all that stuff. So great, you know, all that fun stuff. But we are bringing it up here. When I saw this tweet, I could not help but think of Jason Winter and what his reaction was going to be. Attention ARCs, as the Windows 10 installation / update method has changed. You must uninstall and reinstall the game in order to fix some of the errors previously reported and to avoid any storage space issues that may arise. We apologize for the inconvenience this may cause. This in response to lots of people after recent Windows 10 updates getting a number of errors when trying to launch the program and such. So if you're playing on any platform and you are experiencing some of the issues you see on their Twitter, the official resolution at this point is now that you uninstall and reinstall an 80-plus gig game that already doesn't exactly, Robin, have the best track record, particularly on the Microsoft Store, for actually being able to be easily installed and played. Now, to be fair, Steam has basically negated all of those issues, but if you're still playing via the Windows Store, this was not good news.
Personally, like, I don't think there is a game that I have played where if I had to uninstall it and reinstall it to keep playing without problems, that I wouldn't have to actually think about whether I really want to keep playing it or not. Because, like, I'm sorry, I hate uninstalling and reinstalling games or installing games. Once I got a game, it's there. I don't want to deal with it. That just seems like I hope they had no other way to handle it. If they chose to go that way about it, that's terrible.
Whole Milk says, Jason, that this is the death knell for the Windows Store client. Because if you are actually, like Robin said, you screw it, I just uninstall it and be done. But if you actually intended to reinstall it, there is 100% no way, unless you can't do it any other way, that you are uninstalling the Windows Store client and reinstalling and not having it be the Steam client or something like that.
Right.
Just a mess. Jason, your tweet on this was probably one of the funniest things I had seen yesterday was, yeah, I stopped reading after uninstall, reinstall.
It's like it made me think of Full Metal Alchemist of all things, because the science behind alchemy in that is that you break something down and then you reconstitute it as something else. But one of the characters just destroyed things with his alchemy. So then, and they realized that he just stopped at the breakdown part. He didn't go to the reassemble part.
True.
And that's exactly what I thought of here.
True.
Yeah.
Perhaps more cheerful news was on the PSO2 New Genesis front, where they did have the Prologue 2 video go up yesterday. Now, remember, they play them live, but they are pre-recorded. The entire things are pre-recorded. So it's about an hour and 20 minutes-ish long. We have it up on MMO Bomb if you want to check it out. We have also summarized some of the key points because a lot of it is fluff that just... There's some cringe moments in the thing, particularly anytime you get like a comedian to host some of these things, it just never really pans out in my experience.
So basically like our cast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it is a little cringy here and there. There's some things that I'm like, I can't believe you said that. Like when he starts telling the female co-host that she should wear her hair in pigtails because he likes pigtails, and I'm like, ugh. Ugh.
Really?
Stop. Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. But on the information front, when they actually bring in the PSO2 team, there's a lot of information that they got out of the first closed beta as far as changes to damage, changes to XP, performance issues, all kinds of feedback. And they did bring how they're addressing all of that feedback. More importantly, Closed Beta Test 2 has started. Again, this is in Japan today and runs through Sunday. From the initial feedback I saw on Twitter, it basically shit the bed and totally crashed, which, good. It's a beta. I'm fine with it doing it there because they open this up to more people. We did get news of there will be a global closed beta test. But that was all the info we got, Robin. Are you watching this one at all? I mean, we got to see some neat stuff like new weapons that aren't going to be in beta but will be at launch. I'm a PSO fan in general, so I am definitely hyped for this. You know, it caused me, though, to leave PSO2 because there was really no reason to play much anymore. I had already gotten everything I wanted to get cosmetically. But I'm definitely looking forward to New Genesis. I'm very happy that this time around they're going to do a global beta test rather than the test-exclusive launch they basically did on the Windows Store.
Yeah. Like Phantasy Star series has been one of those things that I've always been like, I should play that, but I've never quite gotten into it. And I'm actually thinking when this comes around, maybe that'll be the point where I'll step in and actually try, because like I've missed all the other big moments and I always feel weird coming in the middle. So I'm definitely interested, but it'll be interesting to see if I get across that line and actually play.
Jason, one of the things that I'm curious about is the PSO2 file is, like I had mentioned earlier, it's like already like 80 plus gigs depending on your platform. And you're able to play PSO2 or New Genesis from the same client. How big is this file going to get, considering that the way you toggle between the two games, as we saw in the Prologue 1 video, was, you know, you go to the block transfer thing that's already in PSO2, and you select the New Genesis blocks. This file's already 80 to 90 gigs, and now we're stacking basically an open world game on top of it.
I'm just going to sit back and watch. When it happens, I'm just going to watch it. After all the fires are put out, then maybe I'll think about it.
Maybe you'll think about it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
They really couldn't have screwed up the implementation of this really anymore if they tried. Just overall. They really, really couldn't have.
I absolutely agree with you. Point you've made repeatedly on this one is if you knew, and you definitely knew, that New Genesis was coming, then why did you even bring PSO2 West at that point? If you needed to client-wise, then you bring them both at the same time. I felt like I enjoyed my time in PSO2 for 8 or 9 months or whatever, but then as soon as I saw New Genesis and the way it was working and the only thing that transferred was cosmetics and there were not going to be an episode 7 for PSO2, I'm like, well, then why the hell would I do this? We will have Prologue 3 coming. They didn't give a date for it, but we will get the results of this closed beta test, which I'm sure will be interesting. In other big news, Jason, Alienware ends its esports relationship with Riot Games. Presumably, I mean, they didn't confirm, but they also didn't deny type situation, right? The concern was from sources in the negotiations, concerns with Riot's public image amid the harassment claims and all the other controversies. We do have an update on one of those controversies, which we'll get to in a minute, but if you would give us your opinions there on Alienware pulling out of this, because I immediately thought, okay, well, yeah, fine, good on them if that's the way they feel. But then I also went, well, wait a minute, isn't it a little late? Like, Riot has had controversy over controversy over controversy for like the last year and a half now on this front, and you're just now ending the relationship? So I'm kind of split on this one.
The timing one way or another is weird.
Yeah.
Because as you say, yeah, okay, Riot has had these issues for a while now, and various things have come up, and some have been pushed back on it and not fully confirmed or whatever, which I get. So you wanted to wait a while maybe to see. But then if this is related to the big thing we're going to talk about in a moment, but then we kind of get confirmation that that wasn't such a big thing, why do it now? Why pull out now if that wasn't actually a thing? So the timing just in general has got me really feeling weird.
What do you think?
Whether it's too much, whether it's too early or too late.
What do you think, Robin? On the Alienware side of this, them backing out of the esports relationship,
right,
which was supposed to go for basically another year.
Yeah, it's odd. Like normally I would say, well, I'm assuming there was a contract and they just are deciding not to renew it. That's the way it would make sense, but that's apparently not the case. So it's just I'm confused as well.
On
I don't know.
the most recent accusations front, we know that Riot's CEO was served by allegations, or served with paperwork regarding allegations of harassment and retaliation and things like that. So Riot did its thing, right? They brought a third party in to do some investigation, and then that third party made summed up their stuff to a special committee, and that special committee inside Riot decided whether or not they should do anything regarding CEO Niccolo Laurent and these accusations, whether they should fire them, whether they should, suspend them or whatever. They did release what is going to happen, Jason, and basically it's nothing.
Yeah.
They said after review of the results of the independent investigation, we've concluded that there was no evidence that Laurent harassed, discriminated, or retaliated against the plaintiff. We have therefore reached the conclusion that at the current time, no action should be taken against Laurent. That is our recommendation to the board of directors. Now, they also put some caveats on there, the usual stuff. If more came to light, then we would recommend this investigation be reopened or reevaluated with the new evidence. And this is not saying like it's cleared of all charges, right? In court, that's a separate matter if these allegations did end up seeing the light of day in a courtroom, in a civil suit or something like that. This is just what Riot is deciding to do with their CEO at this time.
Yeah, and it stems from them not finding any evidence that he committed any of the acts that he was accused of. So I'm sure that's all you can do right now. If you don't find that, if you speak to people and you don't get that kind of corroboration, I don't know what else you can really do in this matter.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that it was this clear cut. Robin, you're nodding on that one. Normally, okay, unfortunately, a lot of these type of situations devolve into a, he said, she said, or they said, whatever. There's not a lot of evidence. It was so many years ago. The emails are gone. The texts are gone. The phone calls are gone. And unfortunately, that's where this goes. And so you end up with an investigation that maybe ends up with, well, Robin said this, but we can't corroborate that in any meaningful way. And Mike said this, and we can't corroborate that in any meaningful way. So stalemate. This is kind of a little more clear on the CEO side, saying we found no evidence of this actually happening. Not we got two people telling stories and we don't have evidence on either side. This is nope, we didn't find any evidence of wrongdoing here, so nothing. I'm a little surprised that it's that clear cut.
Yeah, I have to kind of like, again, this is just my own experience, thoughts coming into it. But when I see something like that, and my knowledge of these kind of situations, being around them and stuff, I have to assume that it's not really as clear cut as they're trying to make it seem. I feel like they're making it clear cut in a statement because they want to move on and fast because they couldn't prove anything either way. So I feel like they're being more definitive with the language that they're using than maybe would be warranted by what they found. But again, that's my assumption. I would have to assume that, like, if they found proof that none of this did happen, that they would have said that.
So you're saying it's more of a, all right, I can't prove what Robin said and I can't prove what Mike said. So in the light of that type of situation, we can't prove Mike did anything wrong.
Right.
Not so much a, we know Mike didn't do anything wrong.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's how it comes across more than a.
One thing I'd like to add is I did discover a thread on Reddit that apparently Ghostcrawler, who works for Riot, of course, working on their MMO, he posted some of the legal documents, which are publicly available.
Yeah.
Which reference some of the woman, the accuser's other, some of her other activities, including, let's see, suing multiple international film producers to obtain a finder's fee for allegedly introducing them to Mel Gibson. Giving out phone numbers for people.
Nah, I don't really want to get into that because that kind of starts with a blame the victim mentality.
That's what I'm saying.
You can be a terrible person in one aspect of your life and still be a victim in another aspect of your life.
Sure.
You know, the two things are not mutually exclusive. So I don't want to engage in the slander campaigns.
Okay.
Let's slide up to the last piece of news that we have today. Mr. Jason Winter, we are less than 1 week away from getting our hands on a game that Robin is very excited about, Magic Legends. But, Jason, you actually got your hands on the bad boy, put up the whole preview as promised in last week's show. Take us through it. What did you guys do in the demo? What did you get a chance to play? And then we're going to kind of do a little round robin about our thoughts on Magic Legends as we head into early access.
So I played through 2 missions. One was sort of your basics, go through an area, kill things, kill little bosses, get to the final boss, that sort of thing. Typical like ARPG level instance, whatever. The other one was more of a like tower defense kind of thing. I had to go to different places and fend off hordes and then try to keep the generators running so they brought power back to the NPC at the start of it. And yeah, basically I go through each of them and, following the Magic Legends, template. I had my cards in my deck, my spells, whatever, summon creatures, summon spells to do direct damage, that sort of thing. A couple of special abilities each class has. So those are always going to be static. You know about the random deck and how it's going to fill up different things in your hot bar as you go along. So those are going to change out as you go.
And that was probably one of the biggest concerns we've had with the game since we saw exactly what type of game it was going to be, and they dropped the whole MMO out of their press releases or advertising or anything, was you kind of depend on certain abilities being under certain buttons, and now they might not always be under the same button. So what was the experience like? Did that throw you off? Obviously, you didn't have enough. You didn't build the deck. You didn't start at zero and become familiar with just the visuals of every ability and things like that. So you probably had to rely on looking a little more than you normally would had you played from scratch. But that being set aside, was it as clunky as it might appear with abilities going into different slots because they're coming out of a randomized 12-card deck?
It wasn't too bad, but I think that's because I was pretty vastly overpowered for the content I was doing.
So just hit A button and you were okay.
Yeah. Basically, that's kind of how it went most of the time. So I was like, well, this isn't too tough. I could just, I could just hit all my buttons and summon all my creatures. And so the only time I really tried to like be strategic was when I recognized if I had an ability. I was like, okay, I think this is a direct damage that goes in a line. So if I get stuff lined up, I do that. This is like an AOE. If I find stuff clustered together, I do that. So I was able to kind of recognize that stuff. And obviously, I can tell the difference between like I had a red-white deck, so I can tell the difference between summoning an angel and summoning a goblin. So okay, fine. Now, I don't know if the angel is like a 4/4 or the goblin is a 2/2 or whatever.
Just throw them
But
out
that
there.
this gets me creature, whatever. Yeah, that was kind of my feeling on it. It's the sort of thing that I'd probably be better at if I actually was working my way up through the game and recognizing my spells as I put them in my deck and so forth.
Because you have what? You have a 12-card deck. So
12 cards deck,
and then
yep.
2 class-based abilities and 1 class-based ultimate ability.
Yeah.
So you have 15 different things. 3 of them are always locked to the same button. But then the 12-card deck cycles in a slot of 4 in a randomized shuffled order. So was it possible to get, like, if you were running, and maybe you don't know this, if you're running, 3, 3, 3, and 3 of a particular card in your deck, do you have 4 different cards and it's just 3? Were you able to, like, get screwed by having 3 ability slots be the same thing?
In my deck, there were no duplicates. I don't know if that's a rule or if it's just how I think that is how it is.
Gotcha.
Like, I think you can't duplicate your 12 cards.
So it's
So that
just
wouldn't have been an
one
issue.
of every card. It's not like a Magic playset of possibly 4.
Yeah, right. No, I don't know how it
Gotcha.
works in terms of like if I use my the lightning bolt spell. Now will that be able to come back right away? Is it possible? Is it completely random, or does it actually like go through an order or anything like that? I wasn't sure about that.
Like if it deals through all 12 cards before the shuffle type deal?
Right, something like that,
Gotcha.
or if it's just a straight line, something. Yeah, I don't know exactly how that works. But yeah, overall, it felt okay, and it felt like something I could maybe learn, at least at a basic level. I have a hard time thinking this is going to go really well. I feel like if you're going to be an elite player and you want to be super great at this game, between that, like the word I used both my title and throughout the article was chaotic. Between the randomness of that stuff and between all the stuff going on the board, obviously there's my character, there's my minions, creatures I'm summoning. You can summon them if you get a creature spell that comes up again. If I already have like my Sarah Angel out and I get that again, I can cast her again. For a little while, I'll have 2, but the first one will vanish after a little while, so I can have theoretically multiples of that. So that kind of is like your duplicate question.
So,
but between all of that and all the monsters going on, all the whatever ground effects, or if I have to step generator, and then if there are going to be multiple players, yeah, chaos is just the word I use to overall describe how it went for me.
But here's the thing that I do like. You have not really expected to like this one much.
No, I haven't.
Since it was announced. Even, having been in the Magic the Gathering scene and, relatively enjoying Path of Exile here and there and the ARPG type feel and things like that. This was not one that you have been even remotely hyped about at all. But at the end of your piece, you do mention that, you know what? I'm the least likely to play this game, and I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It does make me want to try it a little more and experiment with some things. So that's got to count for something. Somebody that really didn't care for the game at all is going to, all right, I'm going to try it a few more times to get some more out of this when it's available. That's got to be a good feeling, right?
Like, I wasn't hotly anticipating it. Now I'm kind of warmly anticipating it. It's like the burner's set to 5. Let's say maybe. So that's where I'm at. Right? I'll probably actually play it on my Ready Check stream Tuesday night because the beta goes live on Tuesday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Robin, you only have like 4 days left before you can play this on Arc or on the Epic Game Store on Tuesday, March 23rd. Discord really hating your camera right now, so I'm not going to cut to your solo shot, but we'll leave you in the try slots here. Are you still pumped? Have you gotten your hands on it? I saw it wasn't you that wrote the MMORPG preview, but I don't know if you got your hands on it or not.
I did, but it was a while ago. It's
Okay.
been a while since I've been able to play. And honestly, like hearing Jason say it was chaos makes me so happy because chaos is my happy place. I love chaos. So that's very exciting for me. I also from looking at the video that they cleaned up the UI while you're fighting a lot since when I played it. And I'm super excited about that too, because when I played it, there was more on your screen and it was a bit like not overwhelming, but also like, is this really necessary?
Right.
It was just things taking up space. So I'm happy to see that it looks like they've cleaned it up and I cannot wait to get in there and play it more fully and experience the story and all of the different things that they have in there.
Well, Tuesday's the day. Tuesday is the day. We'll be checking it out, of course. Here will probably be my next Friday stream, so we won't have a vote on it like we normally do. So next Friday, after the free-to-play cast, 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll be streaming this. I think Troy is streaming Arcane Showdown on Thursday. He did Minion Masters this Thursday. I don't know, Jason, if you're streaming Wednesday and you want to do this, fine. If you don't stream, oh well, I'll pick it up on Friday.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
But yeah, so and then depending on how far we feel we need to get into it to accurately cover everything, expect our first look video next week. At the latest, early the following week, if we need to get further in the game to make sure we cover everything in that. So last piece before we slide over to do the weekly bombs, by the way, speaking of games, Jason, that we were kind of like, I don't know. We'll see. Not super hyped about it, but maybe it'll be okay. I played on Monday's stream, Century Age of Ashes. We talked, I think, Robin, you were here when we talked about this game, Dragon PvP.
Think so. Yeah.
I'm going to say I actually enjoyed the damn thing. One of the game modes I was not fond of at all, the Gates mode. It was just way too easy, I thought, for one team to get way ahead of the other one. But as far as like your death matches and all those other modes, I actually had a lot of fun with this. It's easy to pick up. There's a lot of aim assist going on, and that is a little bit of a bad thing. But it's also because the controls aren't as tight as you would imagine they should be. That's not to say that they're programmed wrong. But, Jason, when you play World of Warplanes, you're used to being able to pitch and roll and yaw and do everything, right? If you want to cut hard left, you don't just turn left or bank left. You put the damn plane on its side and then pull up and tight turn to the left, right? Mm-hmm. You can't do that with the dragons. And the only real way to get things off of you if they're locked on and they're coming from behind you is to take a tight turn around something and have it slam into whatever you tight turned around instead of slamming into you. But the turning in it isn't as tight as you want it to be. So it leads to this like kind of floaty hard left or hard right, which more times than not for me ended up meaning that I careened and slammed into the other side of what I was turning around to try and dodge, and I took damage anyway. So the controls take a little bit of getting used to. But I gotta say, it was actually kind of fun for somebody that generally doesn't enjoy PvP games. Robin, did you get a chance to check this out? I don't know if you signed up for the beta or not after we talked about it. Doesn't release it technically until next month, but you can kind of get into the beta on Steam with relatively few issues.
Yeah, no, I haven't had a chance to play that one yet. It looks interesting. I think the not being able to bank as hard as you would with it plain probably makes sense. But yeah, if you're used to having that kind of maneuverability, that's going to take some time getting used to. But I'm happy to hear that you had fun with it because that makes me even more hopeful. Like maybe this will be an awesome little game.
It was enjoyable.
A little different.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. And the monetization, Jason, is exactly what you expect. There's a season pass. There's cosmetic armor pieces for your dragon. There's dragon skins that vary by class. It's all that type of stuff. There is an XP booster in there. In the cash shop, if you want that as well. It's like there's like a 3-day boost, a 1-day boost, whatever, those types of things. So nothing egregious that was visible in the alpha or in the beta testing. Some modes weren't open yet, or I hadn't leveled enough to open them, like the ranked play and stuff like that. But we've seen worse. We've seen PvP games come out without ranked play or without friends lists, Magic Arena. We've seen that. This is not that. It's in relatively good shape. I loved the music during battles. Like, huge thumbs up for the music during battles. I will give this one another whirl. When I expected to be moderately entertained for a stream and then throw it away, That is not what I walked out of the test with. And so good endorsement. Jason, did you get a chance to watch any of it?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of your stream, some of the battles, and it does have looks like a really good presentation.
Yeah, it really does.
I didn't pay much attention to the music, but I just thought the graphics were really nice. Because I'd seen the videos beforehand. I was like, always whenever you watch a highlight video or a preview video, it's like, okay, yeah, it looks nice there, but how's it going to look actually in the game? And I saw you, and I was like, wow, it actually looks nice. Go figure.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, as you were playing it, I did think of World of Warplanes or War Thunder. I thought it's basically War Thunder with dragons.
Yeah, and I wish I could turn like I can in War Thunder, particularly that tight banking. I just wish that was there. That's my one huge gripe. If you get caught in the open, even for a second by somebody, you are basically murked. There is.
I mean, the fact that even you could kill people like that, sure, it's obviously easy.
There is really no defensive maneuvering. Like, you don't even have any type of aileron roll or barrel roll or anything to try and drop things off of you in. And I'm like, it's a dragon. Come on. Why can my World War I biplane maneuver faster around corners than a dragon? Fix this. But yeah, I'm definitely going to give it another whirl. Let's head over to the weekly bombs. Get a dragon with more wings, says chat. Oh, some of the skins, like there's an egg hatching too, but it just hatches the skins. But and you can't buy them. It's like you get them as season rewards, and then you can funnel experience to them to hatch them. Anyway, I'll go first. I'm gonna give a huge dub to a bunch of free games on PlayStation if you want them. Up to 10 games going to be available here shortly. And then another payoff a little further down the road, and you can read all about these and the dates and all the titles. There's a mix of VR and indie stuff all over the board on mmobomb.com. Totally free as part of the Play at Home initiative, so that continues. You got Ratchet and Clank just recently, and now you got these 10 games. And the one coming after that, Dub-Bomb to Jason, getting his copy of Horizon Zero Dawn soon. Fantastic game. I'm glad you're going to pick it up. And it's like a special edition version of it, too. So very, very happy for you, sir. Dub-Bomb for you snaking that one for free.
The thing is, I just realized afterwards is I'm horrible at aiming with a controller.
You'll be fine.
There's a lot of bow and arrow, a lot of shooty.
You'll be fine.
I am too.
Really?
It's fine. It's great.
It's fine?
It's
All
really
right.
well done. Yeah.
Okay.
Such a fantastic game. Go ahead, Robin.
All right.
My dub-bomb for this week is Dauntless finally bringing back private hunts to their game, because I hated that they took those away, and I'm so excited.
A lot of people pumped about that one. What do you got, Jason?
I was going to give an A-bomb. I had something specific to write about, but instead I saw something yesterday that made me decide to make a dub-bomb today instead.
Oh, something cheered you up? Holy hell.
Something cheered me up.
What the?
Something
feeling a little feverish.
My dark little heart.
Feverish.
Yeah. I'm going to give a dub-bomb to, and I didn't keep track of the guy's name, because I just saw a video on Facebook and was like, I saw that, I thought it was cool. I didn't bookmark it or anything like that. But he's an Overwatch player who has a disability. He's got some sort of muscle disease that affected him his whole life. Basically can't move his muscles very well. Like his arms are stuck here like all the time. So, but he plays Overwatch with his feet, using his toes on the keyboard. And he showed the close-up of how he had his toes on the keyboard and able to maneuver around and stuff. Not greatly. He says he plays mostly Reinhardt, who doesn't require a whole lot of movement or fancy shooting or anything like that. But he was halfway decent when the videos we saw of him playing, and he even played once with Echo, who's a very, very nimble, flying character, whatever. Yeah. He was like, I'm going to try playing with her, see if I'm terrible at it, and maybe I'll get a team that'll carry me to victory or whatever. And he actually played that, and he actually won the match. So
wow. I'm sure I'd just get my ass kicked. I'm so bad at Overwatch.
But I got to say, it's a bit of a wasted opportunity for him to use his feet to play and not be a Sigma main. So I don't know, but kudos to that guy. Dub-bomb to him, so rats.
Baron Vagabond says dub-bomb to positive Jason. He's not going to be positive because you didn't use your channel points to highlight that comment. to make this easy on me.
A-bomb to Baron Vagabond. I'll spend his channel points.
Ninja Panda's A-bomb to Twitch for the constant Friday dumpster fire. Wouldn't be MMO Bomb live if it wasn't. And my game of the week for tomorrow is Fear. Okay. Not having what happened last Saturday happen again. That would be good. Misfit Rain says, da-bomb to the New World beta. Just got back in. Also, da-bomb to Wilfredo's taste in music. I seen that shirt. That isn't the only da-bomb Wilfredo scores for that shirt. Go ahead, Jason.
He was wearing a shirt?
Yes.
Slayer Master PWI says, da-bomb to Wilfredo for the Trivium shirt. Don't know what that is.
You don't know Trivium?
The kids these days and their stuff. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the newest album? What would you say is your favorite album from them? My favorite, hands down, is Ascendancy.
I think I saw Wilfredo in chat. So Wilfredo, if you're in chat, let's answer Slayer Master there. Your favorite Trivium album. Go ahead, Robin.
I think that's
OP.
If I could do a Sword Art Online and be uploaded to a world like WoW, count me in. Bye, world.
So OP totally on board with MiHoYo's plans to use implants for things. Yeah. Shogun? Okay. There you go. The Slayer Master, Wilfredo's answer is Shogun. Waylon says, I loved Forsaken World only during the first few years, when the capital city was Freedom Harbor. Now, in its current retail version, Freedom Harbor has been invaded by the big baddies, and it is like a high-level dungeon or something. Ever since that change happened and they completely revamped the leveling experience into entirely new zones, the game immediately died for me. I found it needless and pointless, and it completely ruined the feel and experience of the game. Well, that just leaves me for a whole lot of hope for our stream right after the show, where we'll be rolling a brand new character and playing it. Go ahead, Jason. Whoa, no,
Brian H says,
not go ahead and leave, Jason.
Brian H says,
da-bomb to core.
Just started playing and having a great time.
Getting a chance to use that board from
board again. I was going to use it every week, but I didn't know how to write it dub-bomb to some guy who plays Overwatch with his feet. I didn't want to go through like all the letters for that. So,
Wilfredo's favorite song from Crusade is The Crusade. Go ahead, Robin.
Box giving both an A-bomb and a dub-bomb to that really weird MOBA you guys mentioned a while ago called Demons Are Crazy. The bomb because they haven't given up on the game and I can respect the perseverance, but A-bomb because for every new update the game gets, they seem to miss the mark of why people don't play it. A hint, it's not the lack of advertising.
It usually isn't.
Yeah.
Chase, I played the beta of Forsaken World and was so hype. Respect that choice. Very unexpected. There was quite a lot of unexpected on Forsaken World being my choice. Go ahead, Jason.
You're going to get like 50 viewers for your stream, aren't you?
Right.
All the Forsaken World fans coming out of the woodwork. All the vampires decloaking. Kinetic Fetus is when I heard your favorite free-to-play games were from Perfect World, I first thought surely it wasn't PWI or Forsaken World. I played the hell out of that game when it came out, and I'm totally not downloading it right now. Checks progress bar. No, not at all.
It's actually pretty fast download when I did it. I think I did it Wednesday. Yeah. But yeah. Question of the week that we gave you last week was, what free-to-play game was your favorite of all time? Do you still play it? And if not, why or what could bring you back? Guessley says, you can guess which MMORPG it would be for me. Lineage 2. I would like if they would improve the game technically so it would support big fights without big frame rate drops, not just adding new hand-holding features, mobile-like game content, in-game bot macros, stuff like that. Ruining the game so much that even simple walking in town or a hunting grounds makes the game lag way too much. That engine can't handle stacking new features on top of old ones, and removing that horrible mobile-like monetization. It just makes me sad that such a great game wants to be a mobile game so much. In short, a new engine, improved visuals and performance, better EU server/publisher, content like in the old days, and without mobile-like monetization. That's about it. probably would think about more features, but that would just be extra at that point. I like how that list is summed up with, that's about it. Just change your engine, redo your graphics, take out the mobile monetization stuff, get a better publisher, and put some more servers on there, and add content like in the old days. That's all. Just do that, Jason, and I'll come back.
Why don't the devs just do that? It'd be so simple.
Yeah,
just
like
do
maybe
that.
a month, right. Whatever.
Just do that and come back. Of course you agree with Guess. Old Glory agreeing with Gessley. You do know why, right?
Not that anybody could see us because Twitch is again freaking out, but I will go with mine now, which is Slayer Master PWI saying question of the week. My favorite free-to-play game is Perfect World International. I don't play it anymore, but I played it so much back in high school that I rubbed the silver paint off my laptop with my palm.
Damn.
I had a lot of problems back in high school, and that game is where I spent most of my time to get away from thinking about my problems.
Fantastic. All right, so apparently Twitch literally just disconnected. So we're going to finish this for the sake of the recording.
Okay.
So you on YouTube are now seeing this because Twitch just literally died, the entire thing. So Go ahead.
Yami Cami said, my favorite free-to-play game is World of Warcraft because wait, what do you mean it's not free-to-play? It has a cash shop and everything. It even has pay-to-win elements where you can essentially turn your real-world money into in-game gold by buying a good... he says buying a good for money and selling it to other players for gold. I think he means token.
Yeah, probably the token.
A good, like goods. That sort of thing.
Gotcha. And you are trying to tell me it's still a subscription-based game?
Fine. Yummy Kami keeps going. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize he kept going. Jeez. All right. Fine then. My favorite free-to-play game is Paragon. And the only thing to get me back into the game is to make the game playable again. Luckily, I heard some whispers in the woods, or should I say jungle, that Overprime is launching on Steam soon. I am looking forward to it.
I see what you did there with Jungle. Ray Z0101, question of the week. My free-to-play game I sunk massive hours into as a teen was Guns, The Duel, Vindictus, and more recently Path of Exile and Warframe. What can I say? I'm a glutton for RNG grind punishment. Yes, you are. Go ahead, Jason.
Brian H. for question of the week. Neverwinter. Huge D&D fan. Have a whole library of Forgotten Realms books. Played for 4 years and stopped for a year, and then played and stopped again. Game just kind of got stale, and people I played with quit playing. I just downloaded it again to check out the new mod. Haven't played it yet, though. New module, short for mod. Not gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Robin.
All right. Corey V says, EverQuest is still my all-time favorite MMORPG. I miss Forsaken World. I was in a top guild on my server for it. That game was really fun. Too bad it went downhill really quick.
Finishing it up, we got Ryan Forecast saying, Cord Blimey, Governor, when it comes to favorite free-to-play games of all time, that's most definitely one to scramble the old noggin and wake up the cuckoo clock of life. When one thinks back to those innocent days next to the fireplace, dreaming of the moments that make up enjoyment and camaraderie, one has to think, wow, that defined my existence and punctuated my moments of the day that needed a little more zing and pizzazz in it. I grew up in the era of free-to-play hype on PC, hence why I've been listening to this cast since I was 13 or 14. I'm 22 now. My God, really?
God, have we been around that long?
Really?
Wow.
Oh, make me feel old.
And my good golly favorites in the free-to-play curling rink have to be Battlefield Heroes and Pangea. I must admit, Wizard 101 gets an honorable mention, but the subscription fee doesn't make it free-to-play friendly. But Pangea and Battlefield Heroes I miss so very much. I think the fact that they both shut down means that they stand out more in my mind, but I wish that one day they would come back to the market in some form. If I could change something about them, I would take out the horrible pay-to-win mechanics littered throughout the Battlefield Heroes cash shop and maybe add some bunnies and birdies that go tweet, tweet, tweet. As for Pangea...
So you can shoot them.
Right. That game was just brill. Maybe I'll add a universal server as the game has incredible hype in the East, and I think that would really benefit those playing in the West. Absolutely love the cast again, as always. from your longtime listener and avid free-to-play cast fan, Ryan. Remember, whatever the weather, vote forecast. Did we just read his campaign ad?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I'll vote for him.
Question of the week this week, gang. What's your least favorite free-to-play game ever? It's easy to pick a lame one that nobody's ever heard of or really never made it out of testing, but maybe something is still around or was around for a little while. Why didn't it work for you? Let us know in the comments below. While you're there, don't forget your weekly bomb. D-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad in the world of free-to-play gaming or just life in general. And if you've got a question for the panel, throw it there, and we'll bring it to next week's show. Until then, Robin, where can everybody find you?
You can find on Twitter at Arlie80 on MMORPG.com.
Jason.
On Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can find me on Twitter right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb so you can get tweets on all the latest articles, news, free-to-play cast, free-to-play weeklies, first look videos, giveaways, interviews, and more. Until next week, gang, stay safe. See you on the servers.